We have a fairy tale of sorts to share with you. It's about this Rockville man, Jay Spates. He's a husband, a father, a grandfather. He's been a pastor for 15 years, but now he has a new title, Royal African Prince. And Evan Kossoff takes us on the journey to uncover these royal roots.
Jay Spates has been on a journey to find his roots. It's taken him across the world and put him face to face with kings and queens. Once he was just a Montgomery County pastor. Now, he's African royalty.
Well, my dad told me he wanted me to finish that work that he had started.
It's a path that formed out of love for his father, Henry. After he died, Jay decided it was time to find out where they came from, who they were. And so he began his search with the help of his patient wife.
Many a night she would tell me to turn off my iPad in bed on Ancestry.com. And I'm like, look, I found this fella. He might be related. She's like, shut up and go to sleep. 1 or 2 in the morning.
Eventually, though, Jay had a breakthrough. He looked at an online database called GED Match Genesis, and that's where he found out he was a man of royal blood in a small African country called Benin.
That was the moment when you realized,
yeah,
I'm not just some guy from New Jersey.
Right, yeah, I've got some royal blood. Yeah. Thank you, Dad.
From there, the question was this: how in the world do you get in contact with an African royal family? When a religious leader for the country visited, he realized he had his chance. He asked an aide, and to his surprise, that aide just gave him the number for the king.
The next morning, I call him, click. I guess you don't cold call, a king.
Things went a little better when he then called back and talked to the queen. She gave him an email.
When the queen wrote back at 4 o'clock in the morning, I heard my phone buzz, and she says, "We are smiling as we read this. You are related to the 9th king of Alada." And she says, "Dear Prince, we invite you to come home, and we are waiting for you to come, and we will have a big party for you."
Dear Prince.
Dear Prince. So I woke her up. "Sweetie, I'm royalty. I'm a prince. That makes you a princess." She says, "That's nice, sweetie. I have to get up at 6 o'clock.
Then came the journey. 5,000 miles to Benin.
I decided to land there on January 6th, and I landed, that's my father's birthday. People were just clapping, chanting, cheering. It was an unbelievable moment. I really almost cried. I did cry later because it became overwhelming. There were many tearful moments. When we got in front of the palace, I just sat there for a moment. I was like, wow, this is too much to take in.
Were you thinking about your dad?
Oh, I felt my father was walking with me. I mean, I could see his face. I could really feel his presence.
Then began the rituals. He visited ancient shrines and a village that's over 1,000 years old. He walked around the palace 3 times to signify return. He even went to the womb of past kings and was welcomed by his ancestors.
So people would come up and bow, then I would bow, and then they would bow, then I would bow. And I'm like, why do they keep bowing? She said, "Prince, you're not supposed to bow."
The next morning, a knock at the door. It was a man with a message from the queen.
He says, "Prince, the queen has sent these clothes for you to put on." I'm like, this is it. I'm like Eddie Murphy. And so she gives me the clothes. The guy gives me the clothes, and and let me say this. I went to Howard University in the 70s, and so we were very Afrocentric. Always had some African attire. But to put on the attire of my kingdom, things that are from right there, made by my family, I mean, that's a priceless feeling. I guess the most beautiful thing was to sit in my family lodge and look at cheekbones, heads, gaps in teeth, and I felt I was looking at hundreds of cousins as I walked around that village. You could see it, and you could feel it, and there was a feeling of groundedness, of that a familiarity there.
But this trip also meant a reckoning with some hard truths. You see, Benin had one of the largest slave ports in West Africa, and Jay knows that his royal ancestors likely played a role in putting people in chains.
So what is the struggle? The struggle is that your ancestors in Africa may have been complicit in the slave trade?
No, may have been. They were.
Oh, so it's not a might be, it was...
They were, and we disagree over that. They don't see their role in what resulted in the mid-Atlantic slave trade as being involved in slavery. They sold what they say are called rivalries, captives of war. I say, regardless, we ended up the same place. So there's this tension that exists within me that I have to reconcile, and the only way I can reconcile it, and I think other African Americans have to get to a point of forgiveness. After all, if you can live here in America, you know, you're walking by the descendants of slave owners every day. You probably work with them.
Eventually, though, it was time to go home. After 6 long days, he left his royalty behind and flew back to his other home.
So this feeling of being a prince, you're telling me, came to an end when you got home and...
She told me to take out the trash. Hi, sweetie, how are you? I have some dinner ready for you. Here's a glass of wine. Would you take out the trash first? Like, hey, I'm home.
And you say, I'm a prince.
Yeah. No, Jay's back home now. No more prince.
As to what he would say if his father was here, he said the message would be simple.
I found us, and I completed your work, and that's special to me.
He's both royal and humble at the same time. Jay was enthroned by the king. That makes him a fully recognized member of the royal family. Evan has posted more about Jay's remarkable journey on the WUSA 9 app and our website.